Hi, it's Kim and welcome to the channel. Today I've got a big announcement. My Hoya finally bloomed. I do have a big bloom on the Hoya. I am so excited. It started out as a bud about a month ago, and it's taken that tiny little bud extension a whole month to get to where it actually bloomed. Now, I originally purchased this back in April of 19. I don't know how old it was then, but mine has gotten quite a bit bigger since then, grown a lot of leaves and a lot of trailing vines, and everything that I read lets me know how to treat it, what to do to get it to bloom. So I have fed it with fertilizer during the growing season, not in the winter, of course. And they say that they have to at least have vines that are 3 feet long before they bloom. I don't know if that's true or an old wives' tale, but we finally noticed, it was about on June 18th, that we noticed a little peg coming down. And they're a real strange looking little peg. It gradually gets bumpy looking on the end, and those little bumpy things are what will grow out and hold each of those little buds. They're called umbels, the way these Hoyas bloom, but it was just real exciting to wait for that. I didn't realize, I had no idea it took that much time for the little umbel to develop, but it was very, very interesting. I tried to take pictures as often as I could. Some of the pictures were better than others, but you can definitely see the little bumps forming right there along the bottom of it. Now, we were very, very excited to have this one, and of course, having one bloom, I would be greatly excited to have more, but had no idea that sneaking and hiding in those other branches were more buds. But it's just because it was so thick, I guess. But you can see the little things. Look at that one right there. You can see those little long sticks called pedicels, I think they're called. And eventually, on, I think it was July 17th, I woke up and it was blooming out. Several days before this, it looked, all waxy, and all those little things that looked like little duck feet were just hanging down. I mean, it sounds silly to say duck feet, but that's what they reminded me of, like a little foot or pad of a duck on a star-shaped pillow. But it was just really nice. I first noticed just a tiny little bit of scent, but I'm not real sensitive to scents myself, but I can notice a little bit of a scent with that. But one of the readers over on my blog had suggested a little dose of calcium. I did get some calcium. It only had one dose, and perhaps that made the difference. Perhaps it was just this one's time to bloom, but I'm so grateful that it did. I hope you can see as pretty as it is from these pictures, because it's a really striking, you can understand why it's called the wax plant. The leaves look stiff and waxy, but those blooms, they are just like little, I don't know, like they are carved out of candle wax. That's how it looked when the little umbels first started to come out. They're all closed at the bottom, and then when they finally open up, that's when you see the little interior that is the real darker pink looking. And after it opened, I tried taking selfies, but the camera just wouldn't cooperate with me and get a good shot. But you can see how large this is compared to that initial plant that I had first bought. They're just gorgeous. I'm really, really pleased, and hopefully you can see it. It's against a bright eastern light, so it's sometimes hard to get some filming and some good pictures because you're going against that intense light. But it is really, really nice. Now, it was only afterwards, after this one bloomed and we were so excited and watching every piece and every thing that we saw on the vine, that we did find the additional little spots. And right here toward the end, I don't know if it's the same strand, it looks like a new peduncle coming down. They just start out as the tiniest little bump. And then eventually up toward the top, we found another one. And it looked just slightly farther along up at the top because it already seems to be turning red. It does look a little bit misshapen. I have the hopes, of course, since I've read about some of them being doubles, that maybe this one would end up being double. But you can see how it kind of hangs to one side. And I'm wishing for a double, but I won't get my hopes up. The fact that I've got the single is thrilling enough to me, much less to be rewarded with a double. But that would make 3 blooms if these successfully make it. The one that's come out now, I understand they last about 2, possibly 3 weeks. One citation said a month, but the rest of those poo-pooed that idea that they don't last a month. So that's what they look like. They do look like carved wax. Real shiny, glistening, waxy looking. But I love this. I'm so thrilled. I have a post over on the blog with a lot more pictures up close if you would like to go check to see that. But to say that I'm thrilled is an understatement. The family's gathering around, taking pictures. We're all thrilled too. But they are beautiful. That was just a partially opened edge that first morning. But anyway, thanks for stopping by and watching today. I hope you're as excited as I am. If you've ever had one of yours bloom, you know how I feel. So I'll put another video up here you might like to watch too. Thanks for coming.